Good evening, everybody. This is Matthew, Auger. I am a seer, a prophet for my people, the Cree here. For a few generations now, there have been people who have moved in the fivefold ministry among First Nations people. There have been teachers and pastors, evangelists, and many have moved into the office of a prophet. And we
Praise God.
thunderstorm.
Woohoo!
And we have known many people who have walked in the office of an apostle, where they have planted churches all across northern Alberta. But who have planted churches across northern Alberta. But I just want to talk today about a few things that I've seen here. The BLM movement, Black Lives Matter, which is wonderful because it's addressing many of the problems and concerns of the black community in Canada, in the United States, around the world, and it's long overdue. And with it, they have decided to bring in some of the concerns of the First Nations people as well here in Canada. We have the same problems, the same concerns as the black community, but I just want to. I was watching a show on CTV last night on this, about racism in Canada. I just want to read some of the things I've written down. The show on racism in Canada Saturday was good. It was good that the black and Asian community had a platform for their concerns, which is really good, and it's wonderful. It's about time. But as usual, First Nations were conspicuously did not have a voice in the panel, which is typical. Usually a lot of these panels and a lot of these shows, they're based in Toronto, and basically the people in Toronto, they could care less basically about what happens to First Nations people. That seems to me more of a Western Canada concern, because our population is much higher out west here, where you go to Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver. We have a very high First Nations population, as you know. But some of the things that they were talking about were very good. I just want to talk about some of this stuff. You know, it's I've been noticing for a while. You go to New Zealand, let's say, the First Nations community over there has a very strong voice in the government and in the media, where we don't have any of that here in Canada. Not really. When there are First Nations people in government, they usually do their time there, not really doing much. Really, honestly, they're not really doing much. They're just waiting for their time to go by so they can collect their pension. That's about it. And meanwhile, the First Nations youth across Canada, we have a higher suicide rate of any ethnic community in Canada. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that many First Nations youth, when they come out of university, they come out of high school, they go out, and there's really nothing for them. Many of the upper echelons of power, whether it be in the media or government or education, don't really have any room for them. And it's been like that for generations. And so by the time these young people are out there looking for work, they can't find any. A lot of times, it's like here in Alberta, we have to go up to the Northwest Territories if we graduate from university, and we're looking for a job, let's say in education or in management. We have to go to Northwest Territories to find work. And the main reason is there's this the racism that occurs in the systematic racism that occurs within Canada. Basically, you get some well-educated First Nations person going into an office tower. They're not going to hire them, and if they do hire them, they're going to put them on the lowest level they can and leave them there. The reason being, a lot of white folks, they don't want an Indian telling them what to do. Mm-hmm. And that's that systemic racism. Mm-hmm. It's always been like that. And it's no different in church.
Yeah.
I came out of Bible college with a degree, top of my class, and here I am. Tried to find a lot of white folks say, well, why don't you apply it at this church or this mega church here? You know, 4 out of the 5 mega churches here in the city, let's say in Edmonton, are with the Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada. You think they would ever hire anybody of color? No, they wouldn't. Here in Edmonton, I don't know about the rest of the country, but in Edmonton, if you're black or Asian or native, they will never hire you in a mega church. The reason being, systemic racism. Even white Christians, they do not want a person of color working as a minister within their denomination. I'm saying this out loud because it's truth, because I've been in the system. I know what it's all about. Excuse me. But I just want to read something from the Word of God. I want to read this because this is something I've seen. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. But the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty through God, for the pulling down of strongholds. In saying this, as a First Nations minister, as a First Nations pastor and a prophet, what I've seen is there are strongholds. There are many systemic racist strongholds within all levels of government, whether it be federal, provincial, municipal. My family moved here in 1964, and only now in this last election did we actually have a First Nations city councilor here in Edmonton. And it took 40, 50 years for that to happen. And yet, First Nations people have lived here in Edmonton for generations, but we've never seen that. Growing up, I never seen any First Nations policemen. I never seen any First Nations city councilors. I never seen any, not even First Nations garbage men. None of them. And my family came here looking for work. My dad, he worked as a truck driver out in the bush. He learned how to drive. He had a Class 1 license. When he came to Edmonton, do you think they would hire him? No. None of the white companies, none of the white truck drivers wanted an Indian basically to drive with them. With the same job they do, the same pay. You know the only ones who would hire him were Jewish people. He worked for a Jewish boss, a Jewish company for many years. The main reason I think is because the Jewish people knew what it felt like to be discriminated against because of who you are, because of your ethnicity. And thank God for the Jewish people that they put a roof over our heads and food on our table. Thank God for that. But the systemic racism that occurs within excuse me, sorry.
I'll pause it.
Yeah.